Dana gets a little bit of luck, looking for Blackwood. Irankunda now. Irankunda! Oh, he's done it! In the 9th minute of stoppage time, Nestor Irankunda from a near impossible angle.
Well, you can't coach raw power, and look at this from Irankunda. Wow.
Well, let it never end.
Carl Viet, we saw last week, we've just seen the vision of it. Nestor Irankunda scored that 99th minute equaliser and his family went ballistic. What's he mean? How's he fitting into this football club as just a teenager? He's got a family like that. You're wrapping your arms around him too.
Yeah, look, I've said many a times, it's just a matter of letting him go out and play his football. You know, there's a lot of pressure coming on him and he's still only 17 years of age, so it's important that we just allow him to relax and have fun.
Talk to me about tonight. Second place on the line. How important is that week off? You said during the week that it's probably what killed you last week in the finals, not having the week, last year in the finals, not having the week off.
Yeah, look, it's a little bit unknown, but you still want to go in with good form into finals, so it's important that we, win tonight and go in with good form into the finals. Time will tell whether the teams that have the week off go all the way and win it or they don't.
I don't know if you can summarise it quickly, Carl, but the defence, can you stop conceding 4 goals every week?
That would be nice. If you can find the magic answer for that, let me know.
Beautiful. Well, we'll see what you can dish up tonight. Carl, thanks for your time.
No worries, thank you.
Second spot goes on the line in Adelaide, with the Reds able to earn a week off if they can hold off the Mariners. With just 1 point between them on the ladder, it's no surprise to see the pricing so tight in the match result market, but the home side has won the last 8 matches between these teams. With both sides desperate for all 3 points, we're going to back an end-to-end high-scoring contest in our same-game multi. Meanwhile, Melbourne City will put their 7-match unbeaten run on the line when they face a Western Sydney side that will be harbouring ambitions of stealing second place. To do that, the Wanderers will need to spring an upset over the Premiers and have a favourable result from the Adelaide Central Coast match to overtake both of those clubs. With the weekend off awaiting them and the fact that they have not lost to the Wanderers since March 2019, we're going to back City to win again in our same game multi. Place a match result bet on any A-League men match this week, and if your team leads by 2 goals at any time, you'll get paid out as a winner. Take the A-Leagues to the Neds level. Head to the Neds app or neds.com.au for your latest markets.
Take it to the Neds level.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
So history awaits one way or another. And he bends it. What a goal! He's done it again. Remember the name.
Oh, what the finish!
Oh my word!
This is just pure touch, instinct, confidence.
Western United have won the A-League Championship. Well, it's a Friday night blockbuster on Paramount Plus, a double header that will decide the makeup of the top four as they play off the final round against each other. Only Melbourne City are secure. They've already clinched an historic third straight premiership, and their week off ahead of the finals is guaranteed. The Wanderers set to pay a respectful tribute to the league leaders by forming a guard of honour as the teams come out, and City will receive their trophy after tonight's game. However, their unbeaten home record may come under serious threat from a vibrant Wanderers, who of course put Wellington Phoenix to the sword last week and are chasing second spot and that extra week's finals preparation. Even a victory might not be enough for the Red and Black if Adelaide United get the job done against the Central Coast Mariners at Coopers. But tonight's 90 minutes could well offer us a fascinating insight into where these two potential champions sit in the pecking order. Rado Vidicic, the City coach, just making his way through. City looking to become just the third team in A-League history to go an entire season unbeaten on their own deck. And Wanderers haven't beaten them here in almost 8 years. But you might remember they did beat Victory at this ground in round 2. It is the league's top scorers against the league's most miserly defence. And this could be a cracker to set us up for finals football. So Western Sydney Wanderers coming out first. As a mark of respect, they will line up and form that guard of honour for the Premiers for the third year in a row. Melbourne City, an historic achievement in terms of the A-League era, and even going back to the days of the National Soccer League in the men's competition, of course. Sydney City, the only other team to do that. 1980, 81 and 82. But for the last 3 years in this competition, it's been all about Melbourne City. Didn't win the grand final though here at Amy Park, of course, last year. They'll be looking to put that right in this year's finals. But for now, they can bask in the glory of that third consecutive title. And top marks to the Wanderers for that gesture as well. Jamie McLaren's about to add the golden boot, of course, to his trophy cabinet. Here is the team news for tonight's match. 3 changes for City. Curtis Good returning in defence, replacing Thomas Lamb. Richard van der Ven makes his first start in a month as Scott Jamieson drops down to the bench, while Callum Talbot returns at right back for Scott Galloway. Matt Leckie continues his rehabilitation off the bench. There's no Valon Berisha tonight. He's got a minor hip injury. That won't keep him out of the finals. Aidan O'Neill makes his 100th appearance in the competition. And Jamie McLaren will receive the match ball from last week's game against Western United, during which, of course, he scored a hat-trick and broke the A-League men's all-time scoring record after the game from both his father, Donnie McLaren, and NSL legend John Markowski. Those two were teammates back in the day in the old competition. Now the Wanderers are unchanged. Aidan Simmons continues at right back for his 6th consecutive match in place of Gabriel Cleur. Brandon Borello, of course, is bang in form with 8 goals in his last 9 games. However, he has never scored at Amy Park. Tomislav Merchela scored his only Wanderers goal at this venue back in round 2, a 1-0 win over Melbourne Victory that rather set the template for the Wanderers campaign. Daniel Wilmering returns on the bench alongside former Melbourne City midfielder Ollie Bozanic. What a season it's been for Brandon Borello. 12 goals, 5 assists, an international recall, his first Socceroos goal against Ecuador. He scored in the corresponding fixture against City in Parramatta in January, which ended 1-1. And as you heard in the pre-game show, proposed to his girlfriend this week as well. She said yes, by the way. There's Rado Vidicic, who did the Premiership Championship double with Melbourne City's women's team in 2020. Can he repeat the trick with the men 3 years later? There's Marco Redan. Melbourne City, one of just 2 clubs he's yet to beat as Wanderers coach, the other being Brisbane Roar. And he's hoping his team can win a 3rd match in a row tonight for the first time this season. Referee is Ali Reza Fagani, who's back at Amy Park after taking charge of Melbourne Victory's 2-1 win over Macarthur here last week. Rain just starting to come down, as you see in Melbourne, pretty heavily too, which might make things a little bit greasy on the surface for the players. Milos Ninkovic rolls the ball backwards, and we are underway on fabulous Friday, the final round of the regular season, and still plenty to play for. Andy Harper, particularly in this game for the Wanderers.
Well, I think so, Simon. A win for them can really set themselves up, and it gives them a great chance at 2nd spot, because for the other match across the border in Adelaide, it's going to be a really tight one. Really tight games, both of them, but I think the Adelaide Central Coast match, not a struck match between them. Maybe the Wanderers, on the back of their excellent form last week, might catch Melbourne City in a Premier's Plate glow. Might have some opportunity there.
Might be an opportunity brewing here for Borrello. He has to turn back out, and it came heavy off Amor Layuni. Western Sydney Wanderers' 300th game in the competition tonight. And looking to become the first interstate team to beat Melbourne City at Amy Park since Adelaide back in February 2022. It's quite some home record City have got this season. 9 wins, 3 draws from their 12 home matches. 34 goals scored, just 13 conceded. The Wanderers starting on the front foot here. Gets away from Schneiderlin. Quickly won back by Simmons, then a little slip on the deck. Will open the door potentially for Van der Ven, who plays in McLaren. Marcelo too strong.
Well, already can see that players maintaining their footing is going to be an issue. It's a pitch that's had obviously a lot of wear and tear in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and a lot of commentary around that. And it's repaired itself to some extent. You've got to give credit to the ground staff, but it's still going to be very, very slippery. Players, I can see, finding it difficult to plant a foot, be confident that they're going to stay upright.
Traore with a quick throw for Borrello. Always willing, always available. Brandon Borrello gets through so much work off the ball, let alone the goals and assists he provides. This is Ninkovic, who's yet to score for the Wanderers, but has 5 assists. Amalfitano trying to angle the ball, and he's done so beautifully for Amor Layuni, and he was trying to dink it over the top of Tom Glover, who stood his ground and wasn't fooled, but a big chance that.
No, I think that's really excellent goalkeeping from Glover, because he saw the wide eyes of Amor Layuni and the fact that he was waiting for the keeper to commit, hoping for the dink over the top, and Tom Glover just held his nerve. It's a great ball, wonderful incursion. Curtis Good beaten, and I just think Tommy Glover has done a great job there, delaying as long as he could. What a chance though it was for the Western Sydney Wanderers.
As you rightly pointed out, Harves, what a ball from Roman Amalfitano. Did something similar last week against Wellington Phoenix to release Aidan Simmons for his first goal in the competition. Brilliant vision. Here's Callum Nieuwenhof. The Wanderers have certainly settled the quicker. City on the ball now through Van der Ven. Who got that equaliser between the two in Parramatta earlier on in the season. 1 of 5 he scored in City Blue. Curtis Good driving forward, and swinging it out towards that right-hand side where he finds Naboot. Berenguer with Schneiderlin at his back. Two Frenchmen together. Van der Ven. Boss outside him. Tilio. This is as high up the field as City have been in the opening 5 minutes. O'Neill. Talbot. Not quite on. Traore nips in. Ninkovic. Van der Ven. Quick to intervene. Boss creeping forward down the left. Linked with a move to Belgian club Westerlo today. Potentially for an Australian record fee. See if that eventuates. Tilio. He's talked about heading over to Europe himself next season. Naboot. Berenguer and Talbot. Patient from City. Trying to move the Wanderers around. Boss for Tilio. Van der Ven. Boss again. Good for Van der Ven. Boss turning clear of Nieuwenhof. O'Neill. Sustained spell of possession this for the home side. Nuno Reis with a clever little angle ball into space for Boss. And out for Van der Ven. Looking for the give and go with Tilio. Van der Ven's going to have to go some to keep it alive, which he did. Or did he? No. Flag up, goal kick, Western Sydney Wanderers. Well, they took their time there, Melbourne City.
Yeah, a bit of a cagey start from both. Western Sydney Wanderers had some really promising possession in the opening couple of minutes, and Melbourne City settling and setting up the field as they so like to do. This game just has the hallmarks of being a fantastic encounter. Melbourne City clearly the dominant team of the comp, will finish clear by a number of points, and that is an accurate reflection as to how well the football club has gone about their business this year. I've got to say, Simon, did a couple of times last week, and I've spoken with you in a social environment. Some of that football from the Wanderers last weekend was as close as we've got to Barcelona under Ange, by my reckoning.
Yep.
At least it was just mouth-watering. And if that's a marker put down, and this is a real standoff on that basis, the champions-elect, I think we can call Melbourne City, and at this point on form, the Wanderers the nearest challengers. Can they prove that to be more than just a sentiment?
Of course, the league table tells us a slightly different story at the moment. Just 1 point separating Adelaide, the Mariners and the Wanderers. If Adelaide win tonight, they will finish second. We'll keep you in touch with goings on at Cooper Stadium, that game between the Reds and the Mariners. That is the As Live ladder. No goals in either game as yet. It would mean they would remain as they are, but the Wanderers level on goal difference with the Mariners having scored more goals. But all that could change over the next 80 minutes. Here's Amor Layuni. Had one chance and was trying to tee up another. A good block by Aidan O'Neill.
Just took a little long to get that one cooked. The man was having just a little nibble at Layuni's ankles as well, which might be something he'd choose to do in a finals match, or from a Melbourne City viewpoint, a must-win.
Traore went to ground and thought there was some contact there. Ali Reza Fagani waves it away. seem to play the ball onto Traore. Marco Redan has delivered finals football for Western Sydney Wanderers for the first time in 6 years, but they want a lot more. They haven't beaten Melbourne City at Amy Park since November 2015. It's a gap of over 7 years. Tonight would be a very good time to put down a marker ahead of the finals. Van der Ven works it out for Tilio. Trying to get away from Simmons. A little bit of contact, but not enough. Two young guns going full pelt for the ball. And the Wanderers safely out. Traore. Came a little bit heavy, though, off the fullback. And the Boots got a foot in. Now with Talbot. Left that ball a bit short for O'Neill. Nicely done in the first place by Amalfitano, but now he's coughed up the ball. And City will come forward through O'Neill. Little touch by McLaren in the box, building nicely. O'Neill and Tilio. And pushed away by Lawrence Thomas for a corner.
That's really good interplay, wasn't it? Western Sydney Wanderers with one of the better defences in the league. But even they were caught ball watching and getting turned inside out. The ball ended up at Tilio's right foot, not the most lethal weapon in his arsenal, but still it was good enough to test Lawrence Thomas, who himself was good enough to see the ball away.
Florent Berenguer to deliver the set piece in towards the near post. Murchler is there. Berenguer again with time. Nuno Reis. Van der Ven. Boss and O'Neill. Van der Ven. Beautifully pinged out towards that right-hand side for Berenguer. Here's the Frenchman again. Found the angle for the cross, but could only pick out Marcelo. And Nuno Reis a bit heavy over the top of Borello. Free kick for the Wanderers. Not an awful lot in that, Arps, but enough.
No, there's not at all. There Regani does like to take these particular opportunities from time to time just to let players know that he's in charge. Not quite sure what in particular may have irritated him then, or what he was looking to jump on, but he did nevertheless.
Vidicic done a good job since taking over mid-season from Paddy Kisnorbo. Who incidentally remains deep in relegation trouble in France with his new club Troyes. No such worries for Jamie McLaren. 23 goals now this season. And that all-time A-League men's scoring record. Came off Simmons last. It's going to be a City throw. Boss. Back for good. Talbot to drive it across fields. O'Neill. Touched by Boss. Van der Ven. City certainly dominating now in terms of territory and possession after that early flurry by the Wanderers. Touch around the corner by Berenguer. Gets it back off Talbot. The one thing we know about the Wanderers is that they can stay compact defensively. Best defence in the competition. 24 goals conceded, and only 7 of those, Andy, in the first half all season, which is extraordinary.
Yeah, well, that really set their season up, because as well as they're playing now with the ball and as exciting as they are to watch, you couldn't objectively say that to start the season, but they built a really formidable combination defensively, and it's provided a wonderful foundation for them to then grow into the other parts of their football. Key to it has been the move of Brandon Borello into centre forward, of course, but it's more than just that single piece of adjustment. They've really grown beautifully as a football, and they've been able to do that, some sort of freedom with that terrific defending to start the season.
Van der Ven trying to find McLaren, which ultimately he did, but via his preferred routes, but off a Wanderers defender. Somewhat slowed down that attempted attack. Let's go down to Ben Homer. Evening, Ben.
Hey, Simon. Yeah, the rain has just stopped falling for the moment, which is fantastic news. And the weather, it's changed rapidly in Melbourne from earlier in the week. There was a bit of an April heat wave. It was sort of up around mid-20s, T-shirt weather for autumn in Melbourne earlier in the week. So maybe that helped the pitch recover somewhat and the grass to shoot through. So the pitch is very short-cut grass, but in decent condition, Simon.
Thanks, Ben. Here's Amol UTE for Western Sydney. Simmons. Schneiderlin. Nice little angle ball for Ninkovic. Nuno Reis ensured that passing lane back across the face of goal was not available to him.
Really clever that from Ninkovic. Beautiful pass from Schneiderlin, but just look at this. Ninkovic is scanned. He sees there's not really anyone coming. It's going to be tough to get across, and you know what I'm going to do? I'll delay, wait till the slide tackle comes in and win the corner. That's my interpretation of that. I thought he did brilliantly, Ninkovic.
Schneiderlin's corner. Near post by Jamie McLaren. Wanderers throw. Well, we know his quality. Marco Redan was asked last week about his leadership as well. And Redan said, well, we got a lot of leaders, but he was pretty vocal there. Morgan Schneiderlin. Why wouldn't you listen to a player of his quality and experience and CV? Well documented the clubs that he's played for. And of course went to the World Cup with France as well in Brazil, 2014. Marcelo. All the way back to Lawrence Thomas, who knows this ground very well, of course, from his days with Melbourne Victory. 15 derbies against City during those years in navy blue. Sliding challenge by Berenguer. Square by O'Neill for Boss. Tillier. Nuno Reis. And Talbot slides it forward. Gets it back off the boot. Good. Boss for Van der Ven. Stat probably underlines that Melbourne City have recovered after a stronger start by the visitors. Now it might open up for them a little bit. Entering the boot, encouraged to shoot by the fans, which he does. straight into the arms of Lawrence Thomas.
Yeah, they're starting to look a little ominous, actually, Melbourne City. For the first time, but it's obviously this campaign gradually is taking control over the whole pitch, and a little bit jittery there. Lawrence Thomas, not quite a comfortable take from him. The Wanderers.
Chested down by McLaren. Here's Berenguer. Now Talbot. The Wanderers putting pressure on themselves with that loose turnover, but they've won the ball back here. And Borrello is so strong that he's going to go for goal here. Oh, and he almost caught Tom Glover out, who has a little wag of the finger and a smile on the face as well.
Well, he can turn around and say, no, Brandon, don't try that. But I tell you what, another half yard in the air. And Tom's smile mightn't have been so profound. He covered his ground really well, Tommy Glover. Great effort, Borrello. And as the Wanderers are setting up for these counter-attacking moments, firstly on that, just look at how many steps it took Borrello to actually change direction. This is the factor of the playing surface, but that is just such a fantastic and impudent effort from Borrello, and well done, Tommy Glover, to see it off. There's the Wanderers, sorry, Simon, set up for this counter-attacking tactic, and there's few better in the comp at the moment than them at it. It just brings that Leone chance even sharper into gaze, because they're the moments you've got to take advantage of if, as expected, Melbourne City are going to dominate the rest of the game and maybe gradually grind you out of it.
I was going to say, wasn't it Orlando Engelar who scored at this very venue from inside his own half?
Yeah, Brandon that was veritably close range compared to Engelar's one.
A few years ago that was. Here comes City, and they'll get another corner. Andrew Naboot's been a little bit in and out this season. We have such a vast array of attacking talents, of course, but Matt Leckie's injury opening up the door again. Leckie's back on the bench, of course, now. And will certainly play a part in the finals. Here's Berenguer's corner, meantime. Headed powerfully away by Marcelo. Both teams with very strong benches again today. There's City replacements, which include Scott Galloway, Scott Jamieson, Thomas Lamb, Matt Leckie. Wanderers have Bozanic, Yengi, Milanovic, Beedling, Yanni and Bakoto. Speaks to the depth of both squads. Floated forward by Goods. The boot went first time. Spotting that run of Talbot, and another corner for City. They're starting to rack up.
It is starting to rack up. Need to stay, obviously, on alert as they do build this pressure. As, the Western Sydney Wanderers do have a real spring in their step at the moment, and as you've reported very reliably, they've got great quality in their team and on the bench ready to join in.
It's going to be Berenguer again with the outswinger, and Van der Ven going for it. Marcelo beat him to it again. A switch for Van der Ven. O'Neill going to float it back post. Berenguer scooped away by Marcelo. Talbot had a little look, knew exactly where Borrello was. City are back on the front foot again. Berenguer. Now, there's a bit of contact there. Ali Reza Pagani had a think about it and points to the spot. Morgan Schneiderlin looks nonplussed, but Melbourne City have a penalty. It looked an untidy challenge. And initially I thought the referee was going to play on. And then he changed his mind and awarded a penalty kick. What about that, Hubs?
Well, to me, the question on review is if Schneiderlin makes contact from behind before he gets the ball. He clearly makes some contact with the ball. Does that come before or after the contact on the player? Referee had a great view. He's right there. I'd be inclined to go with the referee's experienced and trained eye on this and the instinct, but we've got the video review to pour over it. Let's see. There's the contact. Is it meaningful? Who knows? And the boot goes down, and he clearly gets the ball after that.
Well, the discussions can go on as long as they like. The opinions that matter are that of the referee in the first instance, and now that of Alex King in the VAR booth. And whether he sees that as enough of a clear and obvious error to overturn. And I'm not sure that's going to be the case.
No, he's going to ask the ref to have another look.
Alex King has called the referee across to have a second look at this challenge by Schneiderlin on the boot. So the Wanderers still have hope that this might be overturned.
I don't know.
Does Nabut go down a little bit easier? There's a bit of contact with that left knee.
Yeah. No, Nabut goes down very easily. Is it simulation? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, he's a little bit clumsy in coming in, Schneiderlin. But is there enough there to overturn this? No penalty. And there are some boos from the City fans, but perhaps tellingly, Harps, not too many protests.
Well, away we go. Wasn't particularly meaningful contact. So decides the referee after reviewing his own decision, and on we go. An escape for the Wanderers.
So can the Wanderers profit from that overturned penalty? News of a goal in the other game at Cooper Stadium. The Mariners have taken the lead thanks to Marco Tullio. He's having a really good season, lifting the ball over Joe Gacci. And if it stays that way, then it will be the Mariners who finish second. How about that, Hubs?
Magnificent season, whatever happens tonight, but at full time, if it stays like this, it confirms the regrowth, the rebirth, the renaissance of the Central Coast Mariners.
A lot of football still to be played, though, of course. Here's Nabut, another corner for Melbourne City. Adama Traore just pulling up a little bit lame after that. Here is that as live ladder. Mariners up to 44 points. If it was to stay 1-0, if this ends goalless, the Wanderers would finish third on goal difference. Here's Berenguer, the outswinger again. Mercer underneath it this time. Volleyed away by Borello. Picked up in the deep by Boss. Now with O'Neill. Tillio all the way back for Nuno Reis. And Van der Ven. Trying to thread the needle there, wasn't it, between Leone and Simmons. again through Richard van der Ven. Everybody behind the ball for Western Sydney. Boss. And good. Tolman. And a rash for good. Tilio. Little burst of acceleration takes him away from Schneiderlin. Here he is again, turning to face goal. Good. Van der Ven lets it run, knowing that Boss was in behind him. Melbourne City's pace of attack starting to quicken. Tilio. Oh, well, it was. Slip at the crucial moment by Marco Tilio.
Well, there's the first really obvious impact of the pitch. Tilio, he'd like to think had Schneiderlin all done.
Seven goals this season for Marco Tilio. Another standout campaign, handful of assists to go with that as well. Oh, that was careless from Schneiderlin. Here's Richard van der Ven. He's perhaps trying to chip it over the head of Lawrence Thomas. A very unwanderers-like mistake defensively. The area of the pitch they've been so strong in this season, but City putting them under sustained pressure. Ball stayed in play off the boots. Talbot. Good for Boss. Tilio. Boss again. Shift back outside. Layuni goes with him. Wanderers trying to keep their shape. It's a good touch by Boss, and he's strong as well. Brilliant stuff from Geordie Boss. Just the cross missing, really. Partly away by Traore. Down the boots to fire it in, and across the face it goes. Nobody there to apply the finishing touch for City.
Didn't that one come gift-wrapped? Beautiful from the boot. In the back end of his season, after getting through his own injuries, playing wounded when the team was down on troops. But I have to say, in a creative sense, Simon, the closing stages of this season have seen Andrew Naboot at his very best across the full span of his career. He's really put in some beautiful football.
Better than his season at the Jets, you reckon?
His season at the Jets was spectacular and powerful and goal scoring, etc. But he's had more nuance in this game, in this run into the finals, from my vantage point.
Yeah.
Don't presume to speak on behalf of everyone. I've just been really impressed with particular quality he's shown over the last few weeks.
Lovely turn by Ninkovic. Traore. A bit of territorial possession in City's half of the pitch for the Wanderers. Quickly back down to Ben Homer. Ben?
Yes, Simon, I was just having a look at the stats for referees this season. Those who have reffed a substantial amount of games, Ali Reza Fagani actually gives away the fewest on average. So it was probably no surprise there. His first reaction there was to probably not award that penalty, and then he made that decision. And when you looked at the replay, you felt like he was going to change it. He does set the bar pretty high for a penalty, does Ali Reza Fagani.
As do you, Ben. Do your homework 5 nights a week. Good man. Schneiderlin. Traore. Amalfitano. static for the Wanderers, and Amalfitano's saying, give me an option. Merchler has to go all the way back to Thomas and throws his arms out to the side, looking to his coaching bench and saying, well, what did they expect me to do? Ninkovic. That's a foul. Arms all over Milos Ninkovic. No Reyes. Marcelo. Going to find Layudi. And Wanderers are going to get a free kick here for a handball by Jordan Boss that's earned him a yellow card. He's got the body in the wrong position there, Geordie Boss. That was the only way he could stop Layudi from getting past him.
Clear handball. Look, it's a good challenge for Geordie Boss, who's already shown he's up for it, but Layudi's going to be a difficult one to get away from athletically, and so too Aidan Simmons. He's no slouch. Really fascinating battle on the near touchline between those two Wanderers players and Geordie Boss.
Morgan Schneidlin spotting the ball with care. Tom Glover's got a wall of two just to guard that near post. Berenguer and McLaren. Schneidlin to tease it towards that back post. And Tom Glover had to pour it away to keep it from the clutches of Brandon Borrello, who's following in. One or two alarm bells just ringing there for Melbourne City from the set piece. Here's Layudi, who had a busy first 5 minutes. In common with most of the rest of his teammates, has spent most of the rest of the first half in defensive mode. Here's that chance.
Well, it's a great header, great free kick to start with, and a beautiful bit of work from Tom Glover. He's only had three. The Borrello shot from range. He's only had 3 bits of work to do tonight. 2 of them very sharp reflex and close combat situations, and then the long-range effort from Borrello. Excellent from Tom Glover. As it stands, probably the Wanderers, although they haven't had as much of the football, have had the 3 better chances in the game.
Yep. Here's Layuni as they try and create another. Borrello just simply outnumbered. Tilio backed into a bit of a corner here. Van der Ven helps him out, and City do get the throw off Ninkovic. Ricochet favoured Borrello, but Curtis Good showing all his experience. This was a little bit too far in front of O'Neill, but it's worked out okay for City. The boots. The space here for Berenguer. Quickly closed down by Schneidlin. Back by the boots. Nice little touch too to thread it infield for Berenguer. Van der Ven. O'Neill. Wanderers sat pretty deep, which you might remember they did against Melbourne Victory here in round 2. Victory threw everything by the kitchen sink at them that day, but Wanderers came away with the points thanks to Thomas Love-Merchler.
Indeed, Simon, and it was a home match against Melbourne City, you'll recall, where they camped deep and Melbourne City had all the ball, really tested the Wanderers, but they came through on that day too. with a performance that really bolstered them, the Wanderers, full of belief.
Last 5 minutes of the first half. Nice touch by Simmons. He'll continue his run down that right-hand side. Layuni almost lost his feet, but he's not lost the ball. And threads it through. It's Brandon Borrello! Yet again! The Wanderers strike with half-time approaching. And it's lucky 13 for the season for Brandon Borrello. What a campaign he's having. And he's scored for the 4th consecutive match. Perhaps against the run of play, but the Wanderers won't care.
Well, against the run of play, maybe, not against the run of chances, and not against the run of Amor Layuni. Look at this on the Harvey Norman replay. Fantastic penetrating run. And then slides a quite magnificent ball through to Brandon Borrello. And where has he been all his career? On the wing. Because this guy, on this form, is a natural-born killer. Just a snatch and grab. Excellent in execution. Superb from Borrello. The lead-up from Ayuni was mouth-watering. And they get the lead.
In the week in which he proposed to his girlfriend, he strikes for the 13th time this season. And the premiers, not just of this season, but of the previous 2 as well, trail. Well, what a story building this fabulous Friday of football, with the Mariners leading in Adelaide as well. Now the Wanderers up against Melbourne City. Still the Mariners as it stands for 2nd spot. Doing what they have to do. All that on the back of some pretty sustained City pressure, but as you rightly say, Hubs, not too many clear-cut chances, that penalty shout notwithstanding. Maybe that's about to change. Tilio side netting.
Well, not what he had intended. He was looking to volley that for the J-Mac. Why wouldn't you? The form he's in. Simon, when we're talking about players this and players that, has there been a... Sorry, here we go.
Let's just break away, because the Mariners have scored again at High Marsh through Benny and Kololo to further strengthen their grip, perhaps, on 2nd spot.
Wow, 2-0 for the Mariners away from home, on fire.
Here comes City, stung by that Borrello goal. Tilio. Well, it was an inviting opportunity for Melbourne City, but Tilio couldn't take it.
And they've had a couple of them. The boots hit one from the right, as we saw, and now he comes in from the right to try and get on the end of this effort from the left from Tilio. McLaren the first target, but the boot was arriving on that 2nd post. They're close, Melbourne City, but they haven't yet directly threatened the goal. The Wanderers have 4 times.
There we go, that's how tight it is. That's the As Live ladder. The Mariners plus 19 on 44 points. The Wanderers plus 18 on 44. And Adelaide, who started the night in 2nd, as it stands, are 4th.
A lot of work to do to overcome the Mariners in this sort of form. They don't give up leads terribly easily. And I'd finally get this point as a yellow card for Layuni for delaying the restart. that's not going to be a yellow card in other matches. This is an inconsistency, not with Ali Reza, because he's very consistent, but delaying the restart has a different meaning to different refs on week-to-week basis. Players can get very confused. This guy on the ball, I want to make this point, Simon. Players this, players that. Has there been a better January transfer window inclusion in the A-League than this guy?
No.
Fantastic,
That's a simple answer.
Fantastic work by the Wanderers, and hasn't he delivered?
There's Schneiderlin. It's been a good acquisition as well as we take over into the first of 2 additional minutes at the end of the first half. It's gone out before Traore could reach it. And isn't this just now teed up beautifully for the second half in terms of that race for second halves? Morello commits the foul. Might be lucky to escape the yellow card for that. He's not escaped it. It's in the book. The Wanderers goal scorer. Fifth caution of the season. Of course, the threshold for 5 yellows has long since passed. Pretty rudimentary challenge on Talbot. And City get back on terms before the break. Straight into Traore. When the Wanderers have scored the first goal this season, they are yet to lose. City have only won once this season when conceding the first goal. That was against Wellington. It's happened on only 6 occasions, though, it must be said.
Well, the worst case scenario for Melbourne City tonight, reputationally, if they lose, is they win the plate by 8 points. I mean, that still does set them apart by a fair margin. But finals, and they've shown, you know, there's not many clean sheets kept by them. For all their dominance, they win a lot of football matches, but they do concede goals.
Well, talking of grand finals, the last time Melbourne City lost a home game, in inverted commas, at Amy Park was the grand final against Western United last season, but they're behind at the break against the Wanderers, courtesy of Brandon Borello's 13th goal of the season. Teed up beautifully by Amor Layuni. At the other end, City have huffed and puffed. They've had 1 penalty awarded by Ali Reza Fagani for a foul on Andrew Naboot, and then taken away upon VAR review. And overall, the Wanderers have had the better of the opportunities, and crucially, of course, they've got the goal. At the break at Amy Park, Melbourne City 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 1. Let's go down to Ben Homer.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Here with Cal Neuenhoff. Cal, you must be pretty happy with that. Worked your way into the game, created chances, and now you've got the lead at half-time. What were you most impressed with?
Yeah, 100%. I think we were probably taking a step back and soaking up a lot of pressure for the first part of the half, and they probably had the better of it. And then I'm just really happy that we were able to get one on the counter, and we were clinical with it when we did get our chance, and Brandon got the goal.
How do you go on with it in the second half?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, they're going to come out at us firing, so we're going to have to hold on, and at times probably have to suffer, but I think, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do.
Well, suffer it will be. Good luck in the second half, Cal.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Johnson, though, might have the energy in the cross. Swings it into Keane! Western United have scored! And it's the golden boot! Hannah Keane! Locked down by Murphy. Here's Hunter. Dumont spills it! Haley! It's in! Sydney FC punch their ticket to the grand final.
Nice in the future. These moves looking real nice in the future. These moves looking real nice in the future. Hold up on them and it look nice.
Well, Melbourne City with a bit of work to do if they are to preserve their unbeaten home record this season. Only Brisbane back in season 10-11 and Sydney season 16-17 have gone through the entire regular season campaign without losing a game at home. Rado Vidosic's side have 45 minutes to add their name to that rather exclusive list. They had the better of the play for most of the first half. Andrew Nabbout thought he'd got a penalty when he went down under the weight of a challenge of Morgan Schneiderlin. Ali Reza Fagani gave the penalty initially, and then Alex King in the VAR booth asked the referee to come and have a second look, and that penalty kick was overturned. Maybe that's they're discussing the boot and match officials. Still waiting for Western Sydney Wanderers to reappear out of the dressing rooms at half-time, leading as they do by a 1-0 scored by Brandon Borrello on 41 minutes. Matt Leckie, I'm sure, will get some minutes on his return from injury as he builds up towards the finals. And the Wanderers, of course, still have that second spot to chase. They're hoping that Adelaide might be able to do them a favour and get back in that game and maybe take a point off the Mariners, which would open the door for them to get the week off ahead of the finals and, of course, qualify for Asia. But they are doing what they have to do at this point in time, leading at half-time for the 14th time this season. That's more than any other club. And they are yet to lose a match when starting the second half in front. Their defensive structures, as they've been all season, organised and resolute. If Lawrence Thomas can keep a clean sheet, and the Wanderers will have 3 wins in a row in this competition for the first time since March 2021. And maybe, who knows, second spot as well. All to be revealed in the next 45 minutes. Melbourne City getting the ball back rolling. And the Premiers won't give up that unbeaten home record without a fight, Andy Harper.
Too right, Simon. Too right. I mean, there's 45 minutes. It's been... This game has been a really cagey one with some moments of brilliance from the Wanderers. Fleeting, one of them good enough to separate the teams. Melbourne City looking very dominant. You can see goals in them as well. And then, of course, what's happening? West at Adelaide was a half-time scoreline which favoured the Mariners by 2, which caught a lot of people by surprise, but it sets the whole thing up again brilliantly.
Laurent Berenguer, the recipient of a fairly hefty whack there by his compatriot. Oof. Yeah, that knocks the stuffing out of you, right on the small of the back. Sacre bleu. Start of big weekend of football, of course, not just tonight's 2 big matches, but Sydney Newcastle, Macarthur Wellington, Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory Brisbane, I should say, tomorrow, along with Perth and Western United. And then the Liberty A-League Women's Grand Final between Western United and Sydney on Sunday. But for now, it's Melbourne City on the charge through Aidan O'Neill. 2 players to his left. Geordie Boss smacks the upright. Lawrence Thomas beaten. Still there for Van der Ven. City looking to start the second half with a flourish, and they came mighty close to the equaliser, thanks to Jordan Boss. There's O'Neill going around the outside, the cutback. Berenguer, he and Van der Ven get in each other's way. They're looking for McLaren. Here is McLaren, and then O'Neill and Berenguer. It's like pinball in there. Boss again. And Traore slides it clear for now. The Wanderers camped in their own penalty box. Great pressure by the Premiers. Flicked through by Tilio, and Thomas again to deny Melbourne City an equaliser.
Well, the wake-up call for Western Sydney Wanderers, if they needed one. This is the first. Boss to the post, but the pressure kept coming, and Marco Tilio really set up both attacks. A beautiful dribble to start the whole thing. A wonderful save from Lawrence Thomas at the end of that exchange. 2 escapes from the Wanderers.
Aidan O'Neill, the man denied by that flying save by Lawrence Thomas. Looking for his 11th clean sheet of the season. Strikers win your games, defences can win your championships. And the Wanderers have got the best of the lot in terms of the numbers. Here goes Tilio, though. Still Tilio, still! Nothing Lawrence Thomas could do about that one. Marco Tilio with the equaliser. The boy from Sydney putting a dent into the Wanderers' top 2 hopes as the City fans celebrate, and they have been knocking on the door for the last few minutes.
Well, he's an excellent dribbler, is Marco Tilio, and he's got great speed. Look at him get rid of his former Sydney FC teammate on the Harvey Norman replay in the shape of Callum Neuenhoff, one of the season's best players. Excellent first touch. Nice angle on the pass from Nuno Reis as well, and then his feet are too sharp, the steps are too short, his ability to change direction is too clinical, and then the finish was unerring. They've had a goal in them, but it's taken them to the second half to actually threaten the Wanderers' goal. And at the third time of such asking, Tilio scores one.
Goal number 8 of the campaign for Marco Tilio, who of course went to the World Cup as that late replacement for Martin Boyle. Didn't see any game time in Qatar. He's had another fine season. And now the Wanderers must show their mettle. Traore. Nicely angle back towards Borello. And Malfitano got a touch on that to divert it towards Ninkovic. He can't quite get the better of Nuno Reis, but that's careless by Good. And Malfitano. No City to run clear. O'Neill gets away from Marcelo. Must have thought about dragging him down and thought better of it. The boot. City right in their groove now. Berenguer. The boots. Nobody's tracked the run of Berenguer, and McLaren quite have the direction or the power to get past Thomas.
Yeah, just slightly behind him, but you know, in these opening moments of the second half, we see the attacking threat. Firstly, the dribbling of Tilio to score that goal, and secondly, just the sheer brute force and power of Aidan O'Neill from deep in his own half to carry the ball a fair 50 metres.
And all of a sudden, the ladder changes again. Wanderers back down to 42 points if it stays this way. Level with Adelaide, but with a better goal difference. At the moment, it's a very, very good night for the Central Coast Mariners. Still leading by 2-0 against Adelaide at Coopers.
I word through that Adelaide have had a goal disallowed from an offside, where it's one of those ones where it's literally a toenail that rules it out. So we've got goals, we've got a tight table, and now we've got controversy as well.
We had that here in the first half as well, with VAR's intervention for that penalty initially awarded for City, then overturned. Here's Marcelo. Schneiderlin. Tom Glover out to clear safely. Andrew the boot. A little bit over physical on Roman Amalfitano. Simmons. Turned back by Layuni. Merchela. Neuenhoff. And Marcelo. Nuno Reis just nipping at the heels of Borello, unfairly so. Wanderers eager to get on with things. Traore. Just slightly overhit from Amalfitano.
It's a makeable pass too. It's a good option. Traore was a good run from Amalfitano, and it was a makeable pass too from Adama Traore. Frustrated that he overhit it the way he did.
pass to clear upfield. Talbot on the header, but it drops for Nieuwenhof. Melbourne City's attacking work has gone down that right-hand side. And they're going down the left. Van der Ven. And a little bump by the Dutchman, which produces a free kick. Again, maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for me, but there you go.
Well, the 6 in this, according to Van der Ven, is the 6 foot plus of Tommy Murchela. The point he was making. How am I knocking over someone who's so much taller than me, but he's a nuggety customer as Van der Ven. Another great pickup for the league. He's been outstanding for Melbourne City. So too Tommy Murchela for the Wanderers.
No way out of that little pickle for Leuni. And City will continue their rampaging run forwards. That's brilliant stuff by Geordie Boss, but again, just nobody there to apply a finishing touch. They've had a couple of those balls that have gone straight across the face of the Wanderers' goal. Normally that's Jamie McLaren territory.
Yeah, just been a little bit out of reach, but as John Aloisi made the point last week in his hat-trick game that got him the all-time A-League leader, still second in National League history to Damien Murray.
Oh, blimey.
But Johnny Aloisi made the point, and he's well placed to make it, having coached and enjoyed the success of Jamie McLaren as a Brisbane goal scorer. He really can be completely invisible for a game and still turn up and score a hat-trick.
Callum Nieuwenhof giving Lawrence Thomas heart palpitations there. And Morgan Schneidlin has been shown the yellow card. Probably accumulation as much as anything else. That's the position he plays in, the way he plays the game. Just overreaching for that one against Berenguer. They've had a fair old tussle in midfield, the two Frenchmen.
Yeah, very good contest between both. Schneidlin has really grown, hasn't he, since arriving? Took a while to get into the team, to get acclimatised, to get game legs. He's a great contributor now, and Berenguer, of course, well, we've come to know him over the last couple of years in particular. Look at him outrunning Callum Nieuwenhof there.
Tilio, who got the equaliser, on the charge again, and still, and it required that block from Murchela, who then conducts his own personal inquest to his teammates as to why he was left to make that challenge.
Well, he's in ominous form tonight, Tilio, this dribbling of his. Picking the ball up deep. Look, eyes up, are there options? Defenders second-guessing, and then dealing with the speed of the guy. And it was the aforementioned Tommy Murchela who slides in to deny Marco Tilio.
It's been a really good start to the second half by the Premiers. Berenguer's corner came off Adama Traoré. The bounce might favour Nuno Reis here. But he's holding his opponent, Brandon Barello. Now news of another goal at Cooper Stadium, and it's all going swimmingly in the rain down there in South Australia for the Central Coast Mariners. Marco Tulio with his second of the game, and the Mariners lead by 3-0 halves.
Amazing. Marco Tulio getting incredible form on the back of his undoubted pedigree at the right time.
Here's McLaren. Run back smartly by Boss. Van der Ven. A sliding challenge by Simmons. Changes imminent for both teams. Keep you posted on that in just a moment. Almost an hour played at Amy Park. City in control. McLaren. Tilio. Again across the face. This time it's behind. Naboot has to turn and chase. Talbot. Berenguer. Naboot. Wanderers drawn towards the ball. Hangs it up, but Thomas out to claim safely for Western Sydney, but they are under the pump.
Yeah, and they're looking prone, aren't they, at the moment? They just, even if they got on that last defensive situation, they outnumbered the Melbourne City players on the edge of their penalty area, and somehow Melbourne City still managed to find space.
Giving the ball away. We don't say that too often, but he's won it back pretty quickly. And the free kick too, which he wanted to take quickly, but here are those changes. And the Wanderers are going to send on former Melbourne City midfielder Ollie Bozanic in place of Callum Nieuwenhof. Let's quickly go down to Ben Homer as to the reason why.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Just got some interesting intel from the Wanderers bench that Nieuwenhof, he's on 7 yellow cards, so that is just maybe playing on his mind. That's their feeling, and that's why they've decided to bring him off and put Ollie Bozanic out there, because usually he's able to run out the game, but that's the reasoning from Western Sydney.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, he's played in every game this season, Callum Nieuwenhof.
And I don't think he's been at his best tonight either. And if that's obviously, well, not obviously, but something's playing on his mind or his body.
Offside against Borello.
That's an astute and timely substitution. An hour gone, 30 to play to get yourself into the winner's circle.
And this is going to be a double change for Melbourne City. We're going to see the introduction of Thomas Lamb at the expense of Nuno Reis. And we're also going to see Matt Lackey on for Richard van der Ven. Great in particular to see Matt Lackey return after his injury problems. Not that we're not glad to see Thomas Lamb as well. Richard van der Ven doesn't look too impressed to get his number called. But Matt Lackey, of course, had a couple of months out with that hamstring problem. He's come off the bench in the last 2 matches, played a total of 49 minutes. And he's going to have a big part to play in City's finals campaign.
And you're bringing Thomas Lamb off the bench, Matthew Leckie off the bench. You're losing Van der Ven and Nuno Reis disappointed. The competition for places. It's pretty awesome, really.
Boss. He and Lucky not quite on the same page. So it would appear that the Mariners have all but got second spot wrapped up, leading as they do by 3-0 against Adelaide United. They've had a real wobble towards the end of the season, Carl Beard's team. Wanderers need to win, and win well if they're to change that situation.
Yeah, well, +3 goal difference at the moment. But the 2 points are the things that is what separates the team. Another 2 points in it for the Wanderers if they can win. But are they going to win by 3 clear goals, 4 clear goals?
Looks unlikely. But you never know.
Well, of course you don't. And they've been pretty potent with the opportunities they have been able to organise for themselves. But Melbourne City have got this grip on the game again. They've got the goal now, which might ease their nerves, and they've threatened more times besides as well.
Tell you what though, Harp, second place or no, if you'd have offered the Wanderers fans 3rd spot at the start of the season after a 6-year finals drought, I reckon they'd have snapped your hand off.
Yep. I think that's a very fair thing to say. So to the Central Coast. Sitting second, the Mariners. A 3-0 lead away from home. That shows great mettle in a game of that significance.
More changes imminent for the Wanderers, we're told. We're going to see the introduction of Cassini Yengi and Nicholas Milanovic at the next break in play. Meantime, it's Simmons, Borrello. It's been tough going for the Wanderers since the second half got back underway. Berenguer. Nice little spin. Very underrated player, I always think, Florent Berenguer. Boss driving into the penalty box. Couldn't find the cross to match it. And that's the sort of positivity that has attracted that European interest. Graham Arnold, I think, likened him to Scott Chipperfield.
Yeah. Well, there's the positivity. That's certainly one thing. The V8 engine doesn't hurt either.
He's lost out in that aerial duel, though. Leuni. Barely sighted in an attacking sense in the second half as yet.
Really been able to mount much in the second half, the Wanderers, at all.
There we go. It sort of tells its own story of the second half. Bagels all round for the Wanderers. Oh, mistake by Lamb. Very nearly opened the door for Brandon Borrello. Credit to the fin, he did recover. Now Tilio leaves it for Berenguer. That's a good challenge by Simmons. Borrello. This is where City have just been smothering the ball. Getting lots of numbers around it. Zanuck. That's why it's been so hard for the Wanderers to play through. We've got a free kick now, which will relieve that almost anaconda-type squeeze from Melbourne City. And they can make a couple of changes as well, Western Sydney. So Nicholas Milanovic to replace Miloš Ninkovic and Cassini Yengi. To replace Roman Amalfitano. Did well off the bench last week against Wellington, Nicholas Milanovic. Teeing up Cassini Yengi for his goal, which was the Wanderers' fourth. Back in the state, of course, where he made his name with Western United before his mid-season switch. Will it turn the tide for the Wanderers? Traore. Back by Milanovic for Marcelo. Traore again. enjoying a rare spell of possession in this second half, albeit deep inside their own half of the field.
They haven't had many touches of the ball. It's really difficult for them to get away and find individual space. And such is the pressure when players do get it and they've got half a chance, they're not looking forward because they're used to being under such pressure. And they play safe. And it just keeps inviting more pressure from Melbourne City, and they're very, very happy to exert that pressure. They've got this game completely within their grasp now. And the Western Sydney Wanderers, looking at the table, hearing the score perhaps from Adelaide, you might start taking the view that as a regular season game, a trip away to Melbourne City from which you come with a 1-1 draw is not a bad outcome.
Well, the point
if
as
they
well,
can
of
hang
course,
on, and the point,
third.
yeah, if they can hang on, that is.
Started the weekend in fourth, of course. There's still a bit of work to do before they get that result. Into the last 20 at Amy Park. And it Coopers the Mariners 3 goals to the good against Adelaide United. Good, leaves it for Boss. Tilio. Back through Lamb. Penetrating ball through the midfield's defensive line for Leckie. The boots. Berenguer. The boots. Nicely worked, Talbot. And Andrew the boot, just a heavy touch, which allowed Marcelo to intervene. And the ball boys, or somebody sitting by the apron of the pitch, was bowled over by the ball. And Melbourne City will make their latest change, which will see Scott Jamieson introduced at the expense of Aidan O'Neill, who's had another good outing in the hearts of the City midfield. Maybe on his way to Europe next season, we shall see. Scott Jamieson is on, takes over the skipper's armband. Playing in a midfield role these days. He's played in a few different positions. Bozanic for the Wanderers. Layuni now on the left. Traore. Oh, it's the legs taken from him. Yes, penalty. Andrew Naboot, who thought he'd won a penalty in the first half at that end of the ground, now concedes one, taking the legs of Adama Traore. He knows what he's done, and the Wanderers have the chance to retake the lead.
Well, it's a penalty. It won't be overturned. This is incredible, really, because, and this is Melbourne City. This is so classic Melbourne City, utterly dominant. And the Wanderers really in this second half have nary had an answer in possession. And now they're a penalty kick away from taking the lead. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Not done yet, of course. Borello v Glover.
Well, big moment this. Tom Glover has saved penalty kicks before, saved from Alessandro Diamante and Craig Goodwin last season. And he saved this one too, but not the follow-up from Nicholas Milanovic. And the Wanderers do have the lead for the second time in the game. And it's a first goal in red and black for Nicholas Milanovic.
Well, Glover's been in great form. He saves the penalty. It was a pretty bland effort from Brandon Borello, as we can see on the Harvey Norman replay. But Milanovic, look at the anticipation, the hunger of the youngster. And Tommy Glover not able to get back to his feet or recover the ball quickly. His hand's not on it. If it's hands on it, he's probably called saved. But Milanovic gets there first and makes it 2-1 for the Wanderers, if you can believe it, at home. If you can believe it. What a crazy game football is.
Well, it's actually his 5th goal of the season, but 4 of those were scored for Western United. So a special moment for Nicholas Milanovic, who is from the Western Sydney region, scoring for his hometown club, if you like, for the first time. And Melbourne City, for all that pressure, find themselves trailing for the 2nd time in the match. What can they do about it? Here's Naboot looking to make amends, and they've done so immediately through Jamie McLaren. Wow. Lawrence Thomas initially made the block, but it was too hot to handle, and you know who pounced. The best striker in A-League history moves up to 24 goals for the season, and we're back at 2-2.
Well, the Wanderers have found this part of the field very difficult to handle all night on the Harvey Norman replay, around the edge of their own penalty area and the sides of their own penalty area. The exchange, the give and go too much, and the boot gets plenty on that. The first effort forces the reflex save from Lawrence Thomas. There can be no guilt apportioned to the goalkeeper for the parry that falls to the feet of the deadly one. The J-Mac, 2-2.
He's just 1 short now of his own personal best for a single season, that being 25, and just 6 away from being the first player in the competition to reach 150. By the way, that's now 18 goals in 19 games against the Wanderers for Jamie McLaren. And his stats are pretty much like that for every other club as well. And the Wanderers' leads, well, I don't think it even lasted a minute. Extraordinary. Milanovic with the foul, and then that caused Jordan Boss to career into the linesman. I actually thought that might have been a foul by Milanovic, but there you go.
Close. Yeah, would have been close.
Here we go, that ladder changes once again. Briefly, the Wanderers are up to 44 points and plus 18. But only for the blink of an eye.
There's more in this one, I reckon. There's more in this one. Certainly the Seagulls think so. Gathering in great numbers.
Here's Callum Talbot. Out for Naboot. Always set for another grandstand finish. Jamison. That's a handy release from Jamison. And Tilio is bundled down by Evan Simmons. Another penalty. I don't believe this. The two just collided into each other, and Simmons is adjudged to have committed the foul. Not too many complaints, and City have a spot kick.
Well, no one's been able to get a grip on Marco Tilio all night, and Aidan Simmons tries literally to get a grip on him, and he gets his feet all entangled. It's a clear penalty. And after taking the lead, it's only taken minutes to now fall behind for the Wanderers if they score the penalty.
And interesting that Jamie McLaren is not going to take it. It's going to be Andrew Naboot, who's not the regular spot kick taker. He is without a goal in his last 7 matches, Andrew Naboot. Maybe that's the reason. Give him a bit of confidence, if he scores, of course. And a great save by Lawrence Thomas. That is absolutely top draw, because Naboot hit that with real venom, and Lawrence Thomas flew down to his right. That is a brilliant penalty save.
Oh, mate, that is world class from Lawrence Thomas. And did he got one for his trouble from Brandon Varela? Oh, that's an amazing save from Lawrence Thomas.
Well, what next, Hubs?
Well, the more you see it, the more you admire it. That is quite expert. Completely world class from the Wanderers gloveman to keep it at 2-2.
And Andrew Naboot denied. Maybe they should have gone with McLaren. Now the Wanderers going to make changes here. Morgan Schneiderlin not really that keen to come off. There's that stop again. It's, no matter how many times you watch it, it's absolutely superb.
I do reckon, I don't know how hurt he is. He didn't look terribly comfortable, but it was friendly fire. He was fine until Brandon Varela tried to give him a pat on the back.
Ten minutes to go. Two changes made by the Wanderers. Tom Beadling on for Morgan Schneiderlin, and Yeni Mbakoto has replaced Amor Layuni. We didn't see the fourth official's board because the board is broken. That's the latest drama. And the yellow cards here, both for Scott Jamieson and for Nicholas Milanovic. Jamieson could see the funny side of it for that little skirmish around the throw-in of all things.
Well, I will say about Milanovic, the goal might have helped him, but he was hungry to get that goal. He's brought a bit of energy to this Wanderers team, which was running clear second in the two-horse race. And speaking of twos, it's 2-2, and they're still in it, the Wanderers, with a shot at that ladder position to protect themselves, in some sense, at least.
And a game of penalties. 3 awarded, only 2 taken, and both missed.
Both saved.
That's the more correct way to say it.
It's kinder to the goalkeepers. We've got to give them
and
something.
fairer. No, that's fair enough. Whatever Tom Glover could do at one end, Lawrence Thomas said, I can do just as well, if not better.
And that saves keeps them within striking distance of second spot. I mean, if they do manage to pinch that third goal and win this, he'll be the toast of the town. He should be. It's an incredible penalty save. Now, what can the Wanderers muster in these 8 minutes plus stoppages?
Tilio, who's been hard to handle for the Wanderers, second half in particular. Worked out wide towards Naboot by Talbot. Berenguer, Tilio, pulling all the strings at the moment. He's found Boss. McLaren trying to steal in on the blind side of Marcelo, but the flag will come to the Wanderers' rescue. Penny for Jamie McLaren's thoughts.
Yeah, really interesting
about the penalty. Normally so deadly from 11 metres.
Even though the spectre of the Wanderers finishing clear second is most unlikely to win this game, huge tonic if they can do it. Huge tonic.
Quickly down to Ben Homer again. Ben.
Yeah, just quickly, Simon, I noticed after McLaren scored that equaliser, or just before when Western Sydney went up 2-1, Rado Vidicic screamed out for his side, said, "Wake up." McLaren scored the equaliser, went to halfway, looked over to Rado, puffed his chest out, puffed his shoulders up and said, "We've woken up."
Well, they've been awake for most of the second half, but still haven't managed to put the Wanderers away, and 2 players getting in each other's way there. Ball breaks here for Simmons. Now Bozanic, who invites Milanovic forward down the left. Rebounds off Talbot and out for a throw.
He's thrown his weight around. I'm really impressed with his inclusion off the bench. You know, he's made opposing players know that he's on the field. He scored the goal, of course. And he's been a handful. Marco Rudan will be singularly very happy with what the youngster's done off the bench.
Another throw for Western Sydney. And to be fair, Nicholas Milanovic has done that a few times this season for Marco Rudan. Remember him assisting Amol Ayoun, his late equaliser in Adelaide in the crazy 4-all draw. And he did it last week, teeing up Cassini Yangi for that 4th goal against the Phoenix.
Well, he's clearly a very good player. Not sure necessarily what was working or not working for him at Western United. Maybe as simple as moving back into his home digs is enough, who knows, but he's clearly a very, very good player.
Sonic sprawl across, too high for Yengi. Geordie Boss. And there are 5 minutes to play, plus stoppages at Amy Park. What a drama-filled second half in particular we've had. Reminder at Cooper Stadium, which kicked off similar time to this one. Mariners are well clear against Adelaide United and looking almost certain to finish second. It stays that way there, and this way here, then the Wanderers will finish third. Here's Milanovic. Nice feet by the substitute.
He took the attention of 3 players there, which, when you do your maths, then if someone else can secure the ball, gives you a numerical advantage elsewhere. Really good work, muscular work, committed work.
Lecky having a stretch not once but twice, and he's done well to squeeze it through for Boss. Jamison for Tilio, lost his balance but didn't lose the ball. Touched by Talbot, Thomas Lamb. And wide by Berenguer intelligently for Naboots. Back post was Lecky and Lamb. Let's call that a Lamb shank.
But no redemption.
Well, they've been well entertained tonight at Amy Park. And of course, they've got a home final to look forward to after the week's break. Their reward for winning a 3rd consecutive premiership. Those fans will be sticking around for the trophy presentation post-game. Little scoop back by Berenguer for Talbot. Can the Premiers finish with a flourish? It's always looked likely to beat Andrew Naboots. Got a replacement board, Harps. The manual numbers are back. Good, they're far easier to read than the electronic ones.
That is very clear, isn't it? No squinting to get those numbers. And make the most of the vista of Geordie Boss whilst you can. Speaking of clear view, great season. More to play out through the finals, of course. Newly crowned Socceroo.
Scott Galloway, his replacements. News of another goal at Cooper's and another goal for the Mariners. Harrison Steele with his first ever for the club, and the wheels have well and truly come off for Adelaide United tonight. 4-0 for Nick Montgomery's team. Meantime, at Amy Park, Melbourne City have a corner that was hotly disputed by the Wanderers. Laurent Berenguer to take. They'll be even more angry if City score what could be a winner from it. Lecky leaning into his opponent. How do you go about explaining that result for the Mariners tonight in Adelaide?
Well, the Mariners are a great team, as we know. I think they play similarly to Adelaide, and they're just doing it better at the moment. And here's the one which will be the big talking point for me. The Brazilian Tulio. is emerging as a player around whom a championship can be won. Just really an outstanding player. And he showed it from the get-go, the quality of the touches. And Nick Montgomery was telling everyone how good this guy is. And they've nursed him through the season. He's built his relationships around the team. And he's really starting to fire.
Adelaide will have to regroup ahead of the finals. I think that's a fourth game now without success. Back end of the season. Been such a good campaign otherwise. Here, Melbourne City are within a few minutes of going 8 unbeaten for the second time this season. The Wanderers on the brink of extending their unbeaten run to 4. Lecky. Jamison. It's the first of 4 minutes to be added on. Nice little manoeuvre that by Lecky. Good. Berenguer. Galloway. Square by Jamison for Lamb. Again, the Wanderers sat very deep. Lecky. Top of the box, Berenguer. A little bit over-elaborate from the Frenchman. Tilio. Driving into the box. He is so slippery, isn't he? And that close control is a joy to watch and a nightmare to defend.
No, it's an incredible advantage that Melbourne City have because of Tilio and the extended game time he's had this season. Has really seen his game grow.
You see the Yankee just caught on his heels, and the Wanderers have committed some numbers forward, and City could profit from that. Here's Tilio, this to win it. Surely has done. Marco Tilio. 2 goals on the night. Reward for a scintillating second half display. And Melbourne City, the premiers, look like they're going to end the regular season where they began, on top and as winners.
Well, sumptuous. Look at Lecky. He can see the space available on the Harvey Norman replay, and he gives it to the biggest threat on the field in this second half. And this is the advantage of the taunting he's been doing all night. The Wanderers defenders just backed off. No one was game to go and get themselves tucked up by Marco Tilio. And he controls the ball, carries it into the penalty area, and really without a lot of pressure on him from any defenders. He finds the back of the net. Quite a superb performance from the Socceroo in this second half. And the scoreline may be reflecting the dominance now. A wry smile from Marco Rudan, whose team was right in it up until the death. But the weight of possession and the constant pressure and threat of Marco Tilio ultimately bearing fruit.
Well, not only right in it, the Wanderers, but they led this game twice. That is testament to the resolve and the quality of Melbourne City. Is there time for the Wanderers to have one last attack? Might break here for Bozanic! And it was that close to 3-3. Well, Rado Vidicic can't believe it. I'm not sure we can either.
Well, he'd be really disappointed with the openings his team has allowed. Lamb beaten. Good run forward from Bozanic. Tommy Glover beaten at full stretch, but he'd had enough space covered at the post to save him.
Well, that was a second half that had everything. A game that contained 3 penalty awards, 1 overruled by VAR, both saved by the 2 goalkeepers, 2 exquisite goals from Marco Tilio, another one for Brandon Borello, a debut goal in Wanderers colours for Nicholas Milanovic, and yet another one, of course, for Jamie McLaren. An extraordinary game of football, really. But at the end of it all, it's City who emerge winners and become just the 3rd club to end the regular season unbeaten on their own patch, following in the footsteps of Brisbane Roar and Sydney FC. The Wanderers, who had dreams of 2nd tonight, will have to settle for 4th due to what's happened here and in South Australia. But I'm sure they'll still be a threat come finals time. For now, City can prepare to celebrate with the Premier's plate as they plan their assault on the title. Full time at Amy Park, Melbourne City 3, Western Sydney Wanderers 2. Down to you, Benny Homer.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, pretty special way for City to celebrate 3 consecutive premierships, Scott Jamieson. What a win that was.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have upset the whole night had we not the result, but I think it just adds to the sweetness of it. And yeah, look, fair play to Wanderers. You know, they've really built into their season, and they'll be there at the business time. I'm pretty sure, you know, come the last few weeks of the final, not just the start. So a good confidence booster for us. We've got minutes in the legs, and now we get to celebrate a massive trophy.
How special is it to have a player like Marco Tilio in this side? And do you feel like that was his best performance in the A-League?
It's great to have him, but it's also a pain in the ass because his talent is so big, and opportunity for him is massive. He just needs to really find that consistency. But tonight, he stood up when it mattered, and that's been, I guess, his problem. Opportunities have come and he hasn't probably taken them in terms of goals and assists, but a fantastic talent, done really well, and won the game for us tonight.
Now from here, how much are you celebrating this and how much are you keeping one eye on the finals? Of course, you get a week off, so that helps.
Oh, look, we don't take these trophies for granted, and nor should anyone in the A-League. It's the most consistent team over the whole course of the year. In my opinion, the best team over the year. And we'll enjoy it, we'll savour it with our family and friends, and that's what we should do. But then, you know, come tomorrow, you know, we start the business again, and that is trying to do something we didn't do last year, and that's win the grand final. But we're not taking this for granted. This is a massive trophy and one that our club is really proud of winning.
Jamo, congratulations on the 3 straight premierships and enjoy the celebrations.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Much appreciated.
There's Scott Jamieson, the captain of Melbourne City, and we bring in Lawrence Thomas. Lawrence, congratulations on your own individual performance tonight. I know the end result is not what you wanted, but let's just talk about you. How good are you feeling in goals at the moment? Are you feeling like you're getting back to your best form?
Yeah, I feel fine, mate. First of all, congratulations to Melbourne City. You know, 3 premierships in a row is a massive effort, consistency, and you know they showed tonight when the game was in the balance, when they were down 1-0, they sort of upped the ante, and yeah, I think they got what they deserve at the end, so it's disappointing.
In terms of yourself, we've got to talk about that penalty save because Andy Harper and Simon Hill in commentary were just in awe of it. Can you talk us through it? I know it happens in such a split second, but if you can sort of break it down for us, what you're thinking in that moment.
Naboot's a good mate of mine, so he gave me the little finger point where he's going before. But, no, I felt he was going for power, so I was thinking either central or power slightly to my right, so I tried to stay up a bit right to wait for it, and yeah, it's always nice to save a penalty.
What's the focus from now? Of course, you go into week 1 of the finals. You're probably going to play Wellington Phoenix based on Adelaide finishing 4th. So what's the focus from this point?
Just to sharpen up everything, you know. Tonight, you know, last few weeks we've been good playing out the back. A bit more pressure from Melbourne City, a bit higher intensity. I think we struggled a little bit in that area. So just overall, just to sharpen up a bit. We all have a lot of belief in this group. You know, we've got a lot of quality, and we'll see these guys again, I hope.
Well, good luck in the finals, Lawrence.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks.